Good afternoon, and thank you for having me here for first time. And thank you for Paulina, because she made me to feel my speech is useless. She almost mentioned most of the things we want to talk about. And it's not weird that we share the same and common problems and issues here in Nordic. Since the language is a human being's tool, of course, to communicate, I assume it's more important for the writers than anybody else. I wonder if people in Scandinavia, for example, could read years ago Arabic literature or Arabic history books, would they be surprised by what's happening now in the Middle East? I wonder, when I came to Norway 7 years ago, people, a very, very few amount of people knew about my background. They didn't even know that Mesopotamia is Iraq and Iraq is Mesopotamia. They didn't know that Nineveh, my city in north of Iraq, is the same city which is mentioned in Bible. I wonder if 7 years ago I could publish my articles or some of my books into Norwegian language, how we could dissolve the distance between both cultures. And when I am saying I or my books, I mean Arabic literature in general. But at the same time, I am talking about my personal experience, of course, as an Arabic writer who lives in Scandinavia or north of Europe. We all know that without a good translation movement, we cannot establish good understanding among nations. To understand all the awkward news around the world, I think we should read more about the backgrounds of these regions and countries. And literature is one of the mediator to deliver messages and information. Even poetry, which most people don't like to read poetry, I think I myself learned a lot through reading others' culture poetry. And the poetry, especially the poetry which have opportunity to be involved with the global social and political system. About the situation for writers as foreigner writers in Scandinavia, as I say always, writing is a job, not a hobby. So some people, they treat us or deal with us as writing thing is something you practice in your free time. And that's not right, of course. This is a job because you concentrate and you need time and you need a place and you need money and you need stable life, not stable, whole stable life, because you need that vibration to get some thoughts and ideas, but at least not to think about your daily life each time you start writing, or tomorrow I have another thing, I have this routine I have to do. This kind of details most of people don't understand about writers and creative people. And of course the translation is the main case and main problem for writers, foreigner writers here in Europe. One of these benefits of is the translation of foreign writers' works into Scandinavian language, because we became a part of this region now, and we are not just temporary people who visits this country and leave again. As I see after 7 years here, I can see I have my Nordic life, I have my Nordic details, I have my Nordic thoughts, but I speak another different language. So that's why I And we cannot ask the writers to give up on their from their mother tongue and start learning a new language and write it with it, because the language is the identity of writing and the writer. We were born to write in this language, to express in our language. When I came here, that doesn't mean that I have to work hard to learn this language and be fluent perfectly and to write in it. I can learn the language to communicate, to get a job, to do other things, but I cannot ask other writers to write in that language just because I live in that country. The cooperation should be from both sides, of course, the writers and the relevant institutions. I cannot deny there are a few efforts about the case, but still they are not enough, according to the huge changes in the world in general and in Europe especially. Europe had never witnessed this huge sudden change before that by getting millions of refugees. Among these refugees, there are hundreds of writers and artists who came from different cultures and languages. It's our challenge in the upcoming time how to deal with the new demographic of the region. It's our responsibility how to raise the value of a good literature, not just the quantity. As I mentioned yesterday in our first meeting, as a writer, as an Iraqi writer who writes in Arabic language, it's not my goal to continue just Arabic writer published in Arabic countries, and it's not my goal to learn more Norwegian and to be fluent and to start writing in it. Even if I can, I don't wanna, because this is not my goal. My goal is, I am a Norwegian writer from Arabic background. I want to continue what I have to do in the past. This is my identity. I'm Arabic writer living here. So even if I give up and just continue as anonymous writer here in Norway and just publish in Arabic area, or I have to speak more and more and more about this case until we reach a suitable solution for us. It's not just enough. It's not about the money. It's about the contact between the writers and the institutions, the translation, especially the translation unions should be involved more about this problem. And what I want to say, of course, nobody hates to be famous. Of course, this is we dream about that. But how we became familiar to Norwegian? For me, my priority is to be well known to Norwegian people because I am there. When I travel, when I represent something, they say Iraqi from Norway. They don't say Iraqi from Iraq. So in Norway, it's always mentioned with my name. Even when I go to America or other places. So already I have this. I share with Norway this part of identity also, but in my background, not their background. Actually, about how you motivate to go on with your project also, when you see some support that you are willing to do something about this case, you will go on. Because recently we had this very beautiful workshop, translation workshop, and we worked together with Norwegian writers and Norwegian poets. And I start translating my text into Norwegian directly without going through alternative language. And we worked together with the poet, and the results was we were very satisfied about the results, according to the audience, of course. This kind of work helps us to continue and motivate. After this workshop, I was so interested to translate some Norwegian poems into Arabic, because we have very lack translation from Norwegian literature into Arabic, and even if we have it through other alternative language like English or French. So why I was motivated for this, because I read one text translated from Norwegian poet into Arabic, and it was 2 or 3 verses were added, totally added to the text, and it's not exist in the original one, because I can read Norwegian now, so I can distinguish the translation totally, especially with the poetry. I believe the poetry should be worked by 2 specialists, one with the mother tongue, and the other who will translate it into other language to work together. Poetry is very sensitive art. But for the novels also, we had this problem also. Most of the translators goes to another language. Not totally, they can speak Arabic a little bit, but they are not so fluent. They go through German, for example. In German, there's an example. In the original Arabic novel was mentioned something about church. In German translation, they cut this part of the novel, and then when retranslated into Norwegian, so the translator, Norwegian translator, she knows Arabic, and she didn't find this part. So this translation is very tricky way. Well, for that, I'm saying it should be there's more than one translator working on one in one text or one work, especially here in Nordic languages. Thank you.
Both of you touched upon a very important question about translation and about working. We have been talking about that, for example, with Masen. Do you want to? You have been also translating from Icelandic to Arabic.
Hello. Thanks, Manal, for your words. Actually, I'm living now in Iceland. Came originally from Lebanon, of Palestinian origin. So I have been, like before moving to Iceland, I've been having some also issues regarding the identity, but like between Lebanese and Palestinian and all the stuff like that. But I think also like, of course, we all writers want to be read. We write to be read, and we want to be famous in a way. We want to be credited or like heard of at least. And especially when we move to a very far and like very distant culture, like from Iraq to Norway or from Lebanon to Iceland, it's all between these two very different cultures, like the Nordic and the Arabic, and they are all, both of them are very old also cultures. But I think my experience was like a bit different. I was maybe less demanding when I came to Iceland. I was guest writer of Icorn, and according to the program, I'm supposed to write, not to translate. And then I found myself like surrounded by lots of writers in Iceland. You know, I go in a taxi, and the taxi driver is like a writer. He shows me his book, and he talks to me about his style. I meet a plumber, and the plumber is also a writer. And it's really like that, you know, it's amazing. It's amazing. Everybody writes and everybody reads. Definitely there are some bad writers there as well, you know. But I mean, everybody is trying to be part of this literary circle. And I found out that we in the Middle East, and actually I have to say something on the other side now, that we in the schools in the Middle East, we all the time learn that we are of great culture, we are of great history, we are of great heritage, blah, blah, blah. But in the present time, we have no trace of such like great history or like heritage or, and so when we move to Europe, like we have some arrogancy, you know, I'm talking about myself, let's say. This hidden arrogancy like that, oh, I belong to this great Arab literature, or, you know, like we have 1001 Night that, you know, Flaubert was like inspired by, and many writers in the West. But then I found out, wow, like there is no polar bears here as I thought, like in Iceland, but there are plenty of writers, and it's an ethical duty for me to translate. And I started to work along with writers to translate their works into Arabic. I didn't wait actually to get translated. But, and this opened something that they felt a little bit shy, and they wanted to do some workshop of translation, including like me and foreigner writers there, some foreigners, and Icelandic writers, and then we like activated this like translations. So definitely like I had different experience. I totally understand Manal's points of views. And I think, you know, it's also like when we talk about languages, it comes always to my mind this feeling of nationalism, you know, like when we talk about language, we feel this like it's our language, it's our people, our history. It's this feeling of nationalism in a way, which is, I don't know if it's right or wrong to think like that, but it's normal. Like every nation thinks to protect their language and their heritage. But I think it's also like now we are in 2016, we have to think about this interaction between cultures. You know, we're no more in the Middle Ages, and this is my point of view, that when we are writers in foreigner countries, you know, of different, like living in a different, very different culture, we have to think of how to get through this culture and what to get from it. You know, this enriches the literature in both ways. You know, it's like kind of two directions, chemical equation. This is in brief, you know, like, and I hope, Manal, you will get translated more and more in Norway, and thank you. And I'm sorry if I took some.
Thank you, both of you. Before do you want to comment on?
And maybe there is something, it's personal, but I want just to share it about language. I'm a little bit, I agree with the passion of our nationality or our language, mother tongue, but actually Arabic is not my mother tongue. I have another language. I speak with it until now with my kids, and we inherited generation after generation. And I studied Turkish to confirm this another mother tongue. But I couldn't find myself in this language. I found myself in Arabic. So it depends in which language you can find yourself. Some people, they are from different backgrounds, but even in Norway, I can notice some writers that are from Chile or from Colombia. They start writing in Norwegian. They feel themselves are Norwegian more than Latino. So it depends on the person. I cannot force him to go back to his Spanish, and I cannot ask him to be another person. He found himself in Norwegian. That's okay. Just go ahead. But I couldn't find myself in any languages but Arabic. So this passion thing, it's a little bit, maybe it's different from person to person.
Thank you.